Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're taking a look at the Love Cup, which has just rotated in as a meta you can play in Go Battle League. The Love Cup is a 1500 combat power format where only red or pink Pokemon are allowed, and that is done by their Pokédex classification. And in this meta, Bug Bite Trash Wormadam, not the normal moveset of Confusion, proves to be a very effective meta core breaker, as honestly there's not a lot of things that resist Bug across the board. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and I'm going to be showcasing a pretty nice run that I had at Leaderboard Elo with Bug Bite Trash Wormadam. Hopping into the first match, picking up a pretty solid lead, leading Licky into Galarian Slowbro. Now, Slowbro does have to fear either an Earthquake or a Shadow Ball, so to me it felt like a pretty safe bait, and I'm able to grab a shield. Whether they go for Brutal Swing or Surf, I'm fine no shielding. They go for the Brutal Swing, and now I'm expecting they're going to do 4 in the move, so I just decided to throw the Earthquake on alignment. Earthquake is going to force the final shield. Now I'm just going to mirror, as I know that I can survive a Brutal Swing, and my opponent is approaching a range where Brutal Swing could potentially knock out. They are going to go for the back-to-back Brutal Swings. I know this does not KO, so I can no shield and make a Brutal Swing, and that's going to force a switch out from my opponent into Seaking. This is one of the meta matchups where Trash Wormadam does an amazing job at shutting it down. Due to the Steel subtyping, the Poison Jabs are heavily resisted. They can fire off neutral drill runs, but they just don't do a lot of damage. And now I can commit to a massive Bug Bite farm down with the Trash Wormadam. I still have 2 shields left. I'm going to have to shield something. My opponent realizes this and is able to grab a shield with an Icy Wind bait, but all this does is just give me a little bit of extra farm. Now I have a ton of energy. In the back is Druddigon, and this game is over. This is a debuffed Bug Buzz, still does a ton of damage. In comes the Slowbro. I get to fire off another Bug Buzz, and Trash Wormadam just absolutely shutting down this endgame. I decided to do a switch out into the Licky. Licky tanks the Brutal Swing. Druddigon is going to farm down Licky, but I still have the Trash Wormadam. Opponent needs to double up. They're unable to do so, and we're able to take a Game 1 win. Picking up a pretty solid lead in the next match, Licky versus Hisuian Electrode. I do have 2 better responses to this in the back. However, I think energy on Licky in a lot of situations is very valuable, so I'm just going to stay in, wait for them to Wild Charge and switch out, and then I can plan my game from here. They save switch into Seaking. Throwing this move is a pretty big misplay by me. As you're going to see, I have to rebank it before I send in Wormadam. Wormadam absolutely shuts down Seaking, so there's no reason to throw the Body Slam there. That was just a bit of a reflex on my part, since it is a new meta. I was worried it was going to be a Alomomola based on the typing, but it was not. So they're going to fire off Drill Run after Drill Run, and now I will look to commit to the full farm down, and I get it. Those Bug Bites adding up so much, and there it is. I was worried about it, and it's in the back. Alomomola firing off the Bug Buzz. Alomomola is extremely bulky. Here I'm going to bank an Iron Head for later, and then I'm going to switch out into Slowbro. Psychic, not a particularly threatening attack, but I know that the waterfalls will add up a lot over time. In comes Hisuian Electrode. I get to fire off the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing will be shielded up, and they're going to fire off energy. I will shield. Even if I get baited, I'm still in a winning position here, but they will go for a Wild Charge, and that means I can farm all the way down and just have way too much energy to completely overwhelm Alomomola. Alomomola is going to be hit with Brutal Swing number 1, immediately followed by Brutal Swing number 2. I have a move on Licky, and I have a move on Trash Wormadam. Opponent realizes there's just no way they're winning, and they will resign the match. We got a terrible lead in the next match. Licky into Medicham. Safe switch into Galarian Slowbro. Opponent responds with a Slowpoke. And the Slowpoke does have a hat as well. Slowpoke is a pretty interesting pick for this meta. Requires an insane amount of XL candies. But against Galarian Slowbro with Brutal Swing will very easily flip this. My opponent, I believe, was actually on counter on Medicham. I do think that Psycho Cut is better overall in this meta. Here, the Slowpoke is on Psychic. Psyshock is definitely going to be the move to go for here, but these were pretty early on in the cup, as of course it just came out today at the time of recording it, so people may not have their movesets entirely worked out, but by winning Switch, I can now put the Trash Wormadam onto the Medicham. I do decide to respect a Dynamic Punch, just for it to not have Dynamic Punch. Because they're running counter, they did actually opt to go for Ice Punch plus Psychic. So I will go for the Iron Head bait. I'm able to grab a shield from my opponent, and the fact that they showed they're on Ice Punch, I now feel pretty confident no shielding, as it appears that I'm actually going to be walling off their energy. In the back, they have Licky Licky, I banked the Bug Buzz, and now I can switch into the mirror, and I'm just in a completely winning position. I'm up a shield, I'm down energy, but realistically, it's not going to matter too much. I was able to get some Bug Bites in. Bug Bites plus the rollouts, plus a Body Slam, plus an Earthquake should be a recipe to winning this game. My opponent tries to go for the CMP tie. I'm going to go for the extra rollout because I do want a bit of residual energy, and now I can fire off the Earthquake. Earthquake will be enough to knock out the opposing Licky. Oh, it actually doesn't. They survive on 1 HP. They switch into Medicham just to get ruthlessly combo played with a Bug Buzz. And that Licky Licky dies to 1 Bug Bite, and that's game over. We've got a nightmare lead in the next match, and we're going up against a regional champion, Z's Wireless, leading into Krookodile. Krookodile is a Pokemon that I actually don't have for the Great League. I wish I did have access to one, as it does appear to be pretty strong in this meta, and it is kind of the only thing that really gave this team trouble was when I did queue against the Krookodile. Krookodile does have Brick Break in its moveset, so it's able to ramp up the Mud Slap damage. I lost the cap tie, so I will use my first shield in exchange for trying to land the Earthquake. Earthquake connects, and even though this is technically a lost lead, Licky Licky was able to very effectively neutralize the Krookodile, and now I get an energy head start on the trash Wormadam. In comes Licky Licky, and I'm very okay with this. This is a neutral enough matchup. Part of the thing that I also liked about Trash Wormadam is going into the cup, I was very worried about Wigglytuff Licky Licky core. And I think that's a core that people will start using more as the cup goes on. But Wormadam has very nice play into both sides of that core. My opponent is going to fire off another Shadow Ball, but Trash Wormadam, not going to be worried about that whatsoever. I'm going to switch into Slowbro, and in the back is going to be Seaking. This is a pretty decent spot to be the Slowbro, but a Drill Run would inflict some serious damage. Drill Run does not get same type attack bonus, so I think I can survive, but not super well. I call the bait, and I get it right. It's the Icy Wind. That's an absolutely massive bait call. Firing off the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing is going to be shielded up by my opponent, and they're going to look to debuff me once again. My goal here is to try and switch out and get an energy advantage, but it's actually a simultaneous switch out. I have the Brutal Swing, and I throw the entire game by not clicking the Brutal Swing. I pretty comfortably can win this game if I just throw the Brutal Swing. I'd be able to knock out the Licky Licky, and then I think I would be able to farm down the Seaking, but for reasons unknown, I didn't click the move, and unfortunately, that turns a completely won game into a loss, and now we're 3-1 in the set. Licky Licky versus Licky Licky. A CMP tie on the Earthquake is incredible here because I don't want to stay in. I'd rather exchange Earthquakes and then aggressively switch into Galarian Slowbro. I think energy advantage on Galarian Slowbro goes extremely far in this cup. It's a very flexible Pokemon. Opponent now going to send out a Alomomola, but I have so much energy on the Slowbro. This is kind of what people use Alomomola for in this cup. It's just a very bulky Pokemon with a terrible moveset, but it's used to absorb hits. However, Galarian Slowbro, with its lightning fast pacing, is just going to be able to completely outspam this Pokemon. They are going to fire off the Psychic, so very rarely does a Alomomola ever actually make it to and throw a Hydro Pump. I get to fire off another Brutal Swing, that's going to connect, and a Alomomola gets KO'd. Licky Licky left with some energy, but I win the cap tie with the Slowbro. I am not making the same mistake that I did last time. It's going to be Hisuian Electrode in the back. And this game is absolutely over. This poor Electrode still has 2 shields to hide behind, but it's not going to get to use either of them, as unfortunately the one thing you cannot shield in the Go Battle League is fast move damage. So the choice for Bug Bite paying dividends once again, as my opponent unfortunately gets KO'd with both shields remaining. And this is me claiming the 4-1 set, which gets me back to 32-49 elo. We've got a tough opponent in the next match, House Stark, who is a regional champion. Tough lead leading into Lurantis. I'm going to save switch into Galarian Slowbro, and my opponent responds with Licky Licky. The move you want to go for neutrally is going to be Surf. Surf is the legacy move that you get from the community today, but it does have better damage per energy than Brutal Swing. They have enough for the Earthquake, but these things love to bait, so I no shield, and there's a Shadow Ball picking up a clean one-hit KO. So a definite missed call there from me as I end up no shielding the nuke move, but we're not out of the fight just yet, as I'll be able to farm up a lot of energy with my Licky Licky. Opponent will go for another Body Slam. That does get me below half HP. I farm up, as much energy as I realistically can. I don't want to go over 100. Body Slam will pick up the KO, and now when Lurantis re-hits the field of play, I should be able to apply some pressure here. So I will go for the Body Slam. That's going to land. There's the switch into Wormadam. Opponent can go for a superpower here to force the shield. They actually go for a Leaf Blade, and now they're going to switch out, and their final Pokemon is revealed to be Miltank. So they're running a double rollout strategy. This is going to be an extremely common strategy that you're going to see quite a bit. And Trash Wormadam can do quite well against this team overall, as it just doesn't really have any bad meta matchups, outside of realistically if you run into a rogue fire type or two. Opponent did get actually debuffed from the Bug Buzz, so they're going to be taking a lot more damage now, and that does actually make me want to go for an Iron Head here. Iron Head, not the greatest move ever. They are able to tank it. It's a Simul Switch Licky Licky into Lurantis. Lurantis is going to be firing off its energy. They go for the Leaf Blade. My recollection is they did still have some residual energy. I had lost count at this point, so I'm not going to risk it. They shield trying to get another move, but I fire off the Body Slam. Body Slam will deliver a knockout onto Lurantis. Opponent sends back in the Miltank. Miltank firing off its energy. Will this be enough to knock out? Body Slam does not KO. I don't get my Body Slam. Can we Bug Bite down? No, we cannot. And Miltank with the 1 HP survive to clutch a very close victory for my opponent. Licky Licky versus Clefable, 1 rollout and a switch to Galarian Slowbro. Opponent is going to respond with their own Licky Licky. This is going to be a pretty common counter swap. Last time I tried to call a bait and I got nuked, so I will shield, and this time I do get baited. So not getting the shield calls right today, but overall the sets were very, very positive. I go for the Surf, they're going to end up shielding that, and I just look to overfarm as much energy as I possibly can. Earthquake is going to be straight 5 counts for Licky Licky because it's 13 energy per rollout and it's 65 energy for Earthquake, so it perfectly fits into even 5s. Here, my opponent, they're going to be close, but they do not have the energy needed for an Earthquake, and that's where knowing it's always straight 5 is very beneficial, as I knew that I could commit to the farm down. Another double rollout team, and by winning Switch, we're going to be in a very nice position, as Clefable is going to be completely walled off by the Trash Wormadam. Surf after Surf connecting onto the Miltank. Miltank finally able to get the farm down. In comes Licky Licky. There's Clefable, and now I get to send in Trash Wormadam. This is like the one time where Confusion would be better, but even so, Trash Wormadam is still very much relying on the fact that it's a Steel type, so it's going to be resisting Moonblast, and they're going to need 3 Moonblast to KO. 2 Moonblast and a Swift, not going to cut it. They need 3 full charge attacks, and even though the Bug Bites are resisted, they are adding up quite a bit. Iron Head is going to be shielded, opponent firing off energy. I believe this is only a Swift, not enough for the nuke move. I'm expecting to switch out, so I switch out myself into the Licky Licky, denying my opponent's attempt at a potential snipe. Thunderbolt connects onto Licky Licky. I go for the Body Slam just because the Miltank did have quite a bit of residual energy, and I just want it removed from the field of play. Back in comes Clefable. Clefable going to be hit with a Body Slam. While this does not knock out, it's just going to get the Clefable much too low. Body Slam lands, rollout registers as well. They throw 2 in the move, maximizing as much energy as they possibly can. Moonblast KOs, but 1 Bug Bite from the Wormadam will deliver victory. We move to the next match, Licky Licky versus Shadow Scizor. Shadow Scizor is, of course, running Fury Cutter, as again, bug damage is actually very, very good in this meta, similar to the reasons why Wormadam does opt for Bug Bite. I go for the Body Slam, they get a catch on Licky Licky. I don't see a sneak though, so they should be energy dry, and now I can send in Galarian Slowbro. Galarian Slowbro, unfortunately not in a range where a Surf will knock out. I am going to commit the shield, as my opponent is going to go not for an Earthquake, but for a Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is 5-4, so I will go for the Surf. If it doesn't KO, then 1 jab after will be able to pick up the knockout, and they're only on 3 rollouts, which means this is only going to be a Body Slam. But they somehow have a Shadow Ball. My guess is they must have snuck when they caught, but unfortunately the game did not visually show me the sneak, so I end up losing my entire Slowbro, and I just can't come back from that. Great lead in the final match, Licky Licky into Ariados. Opponent safe switches into Miltank, and they are going to fire off their energy. I don't really need to throw my Body Slam into the Miltank, as Slowbro does fine here, because Miltank, of course, unlike Licky Licky, does not have an ability to hit me for super effective damage. So I get to send in the Slowbro, farm up quite a bit, and I will go for the Brutal Swing. 1 Surf will not put it in Poison Jab down range, so throwing 2 moves will be the way to go here. So I will go for the Brutal Swing. This is going to set up Brutal Swing number 2 to be able to pick up the knockout. Miltank full sends a Thunderbolts, but I do have a pretty high rank Galarian Slowbro, so I'm able to hang on. I go for the Surf since I'm only getting to one move, and that will pick up the KO. Back in comes the Ariados, but this is where the energy on the Licky Licky is going to be very nice, because rollouts hit for super effective, but these body slams provide very valuable chip. They shield the first, but I get to another body slam before they're able to debuff me. So now they're forced to actually let that land. I know I don't have to shield this, so after thinking about it, I do decide to let it go. Lunge lands in the back is a Lomamola, the bulky fish, and I get to bring in Wormadam. My only worry here is if they get a Psychic debuff, then maybe they can Waterfall down, so I actually shield a Psychic, even though Psychic is a pretty terrible move, and it is going to be resisted, and they do actually get the defense drop. Realistically, I probably didn't have to shield that, but I wanted to cover my bases as I was a little worried about getting farmed down. Here, they're just going to fire off another Psychic, as Hydro Pump is way too expensive on this Pokemon. I can survive that no problem. In comes Ariados, and I do actually get a free rollout through as they fire off their move. I banked the Bug Buzz for later, and banking that just puts me in a great spot. I fire off the body slam. I just undertap the move here. I just want them gone. That plus a rollout will KO. Back in comes a Lomamola. I'm only getting one move, so I will go for the Earthquake. It will do more damage than a body slam. And with the Bug Buzz loaded, this game is absolutely over. So overall, even though in almost every meta we've had Trash Wormadam in, Confusion has been the way to go, I think Bug Bite is way better in this meta. And after looking it through on PV Poke, and I'm going to pull up the ranks here, it definitely shows that Bug Bite is better. In the zeros, then I'll also show the ones and the twos. It's just a strict improvement to run Bug Bite. Psychic damage does not do much for you in this meta, as there are a lot of Psychic types that end up resisting it. Whereas Bug, due to the fact that there's so many Psychic types, at minimum is hitting for neutral in a lot of matchups, and the fact that it does have that Steel subtyping makes it a really nice answer to a lot of the common safe switches in the meta, like the Galarian Slowbros, or of course the ever-present Seaking. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy watching content like this, consider leaving a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And an extra special thank you, as always, to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is sincerely appreciated, so thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.